Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's me again, Chelsea, and I'm doing another countdown to Christmas video. So today I'm going to go over my 12 in 12 for 2025. Last year I kind of put together 24 books I wanted to read in 2024, and let's be honest, I failed. I have read some of them, but I haven't read all of them, and that's completely okay. However, the reason I didn't want to make it public was because I didn't have high hopes that I was going to complete the whole 24 in 2024. So I'm not sure if I'm actually going to want to read these specific 25 books within 2025. I want to leave it as open as possible, but I thought I would pick 12 books, so one book a month, to read next year, and some of them are for things that I know haven't been announced yet, so they're just in here and you can guess what they're for as we go through, and then other things are just books that I've had on my shelves way too long that I want to finally get to. I have split these into sections. I got this inspiration from Cassidy when I was watching her video. I'll link it down below for you guys so you can check her video out. It's very, very good. But I thought I would split this 12 into categories. So I have got new series that I want to start, TBR vets, continuation, and new releases that I'm really excited to read. So without further ado, let's just get right into new series that I want to start. The first one I think is now on a lot of people's TBRs because of a certain book that has very recently released, and that is The Final Empire by Brandon Sanderson. I know this isn't part of the exact same series for Wind and Truth, but I think next year might be the year I finally read this book, and hopefully this series as a whole, even if it's just the Mistborn trilogy. I know that there's 2 and then there's a load of other books and novellas and all these things. I'm still trying to work out the best way to approach these books and to read them. I know loads of people have got different reading orders, so I need to do a little bit more research into that, but I want to finally read The Final Empire at least because I'm intrigued. This has been sat on my shelf for the longest time. I am excited. I've heard really great things about this. I'm a little bit apprehensive as well because it is so hyped and Brandon Sanderson is such a big author. I'm a little bit like, oh, what happens if I don't like it? But if I don't like it, I don't like it, and that's completely fine. I don't know a lot about this, but the tagline I keep hearing is, what if the Dark Lord had won and you're now living in that land? I'm pretty sure that is the idea for this series, but other than that I literally don't know, and I kind of like going into my books a little bit blind, so that will be the same for all of these books on this list. Don't really know the ins and outs, but I'm just going to briefly talk to you about why I want to read them. So this is the first new series that I want to start. Next up is a book that isn't actually in a completed series, and I don't even know when the next book's coming out, but I really want to get to The Gods Below by Andrea Stewart. I am so excited to read this. This is her newest release and I just want to get into it. So I thought I might as well add this onto this list. It is a new series that I'm starting at the end of the day. It's just not got any more books announced to my knowledge. I could be completely wrong there. And this one is a new epic fantasy series where 2 sisters clash on opposite sides of a war against gods. And I think that's all it took to sell me on this, if I'm completely honest. So I'm looking forward to it. I do also want to read Andrea Stewart's backlog. I have got the other series, The Bone Child Daughter, on my shelves. I have tried to read it earlier this year. Unfortunately I put it down and never picked it back up, but that's completely fine. That happens to me all the time. I am just going to strive to read this one, and hopefully I'll also pick up her backlog, but this is the official book 2 for 12 in 12. And then the final book from the new series that I want to start is a chunky one, and it's Dune. I'm very apprehensive about starting this series. However, they are slowly releasing them with this, well, it's not this specific sprayed edge, but they all have very gorgeous sprayed edges, and the next one is due, I believe, next year. It's got no cover, it's got no information, but it sounds right. So yeah, just ignore my ramble for that. But I want to finally get to Dune. I tried to read this before with the lovely Abby when we tried to do a buddy read of it. I think she managed to finish it, I just never did. I'm also suddenly really intrigued to watch the movies, so I need to read it before I watch the films. I feel like I'm not very good at watching films before I read books. I feel like when I do that, then I know the story and I don't read it, and I would prefer to get the first experience from the book than the movie. So that's why this is on this list. Hopefully we'll get to it. It's chunky, but the next one's quite small, so that's what I'm kind of holding out hope for, and hopefully I will be in the mood for some proper classic sci-fi as well at some point next year, because I'm gonna need it for this. There's a lot going on already from what I remember from reading the first 100 or so pages, so I need to have my brain switched on. The next 3 books are all classed as TBR vets. They are for something next year, all of them. I can tell you about the first one. The first one is Malice by John Gwynne. This is because Becca and the Books is doing a read-along. I think I'm already behind, but I want to keep up with her live shows and read along with this. I might need to just catch up a lot next year, which is completely fine, while I try and finish off the other books that I am currently reading still this year. But I know that this is filled with so many different perspectives. I've heard so many glowing reports about this series as a whole. I know that the lovely Lisa, who I co-host a lot of things with, she has read the first 3 books but never the 4th, so maybe I might be able to convince her to buddy read these with me as well, and we can finish the series together and she can cross it off of her list. I don't know, but I am excited for this. I know they're kind of chunky. They're not as scary as they used to be to me, if I'm completely honest, because they're just over 600 pages, and I've started reading books that are a lot bigger, more towards the end of this year. So I'm hoping that that continues and that the chunky books will keep coming, because I really want to be back into my epic fantasy era. I loved reading the Legacy trilogy this year. They're all very chunky books. I want to get back to that and enjoy them, and Malice might be the first stop for that. Next, another veteran that's been on my shelf for a very long time is The Shadow of What Was Lost by James Islington. I don't know a lot about this at all, but it's been sat on my shelf for ages. I've got the broken binding editions and they're very, very pretty. I don't know an awful lot about this at all. I know that the trilogy is completely released. I have all of them on my shelves. But I really don't know an awful lot about this. It's been 20 years since the godlike augurs were overthrown and killed. Now those who once served them, the gifted, are spared only because they have accepted the rebellion's 4 tenets of vastly limiting their own powers. I don't know what that means. We're just going to have to find out. And I don't really want to read more than that because, again, I like going in blind. So this is high on the list of things to read next year. And then the final book for TBR Vets for me is We Are the Dead by Mike Shackle. I heard so many good things about this series ages ago from a lovely guy named Benny, who really advocated for this to be made into a special edition series by The Broken Binding, and they looked amazing. I'm so excited to hopefully be finally digging into this whole series next year. I have got no clue, again, about what this is. I've got no idea, but I think it's going to be fun. This one is a debut epic fantasy full of crunching revolutionary action, twisted magic, and hard choices in dark times. I'm hoping so, and I'm glad it's just not massive, but it's floppy, so I can't wait to read this. But yeah, we're going to see, and hopefully this is a series for me. The third selection of 3 books are all books where I will be continuing a series. The very first one is Akamath, because my friend has just started reading, and we're getting into reading seriously, and she has started with ACOTAR, as many people have. Now, I have read ACOTAR, and she has now officially read this second book as well, and she loves it. Do I think I'm going to be a new transformed romance girly after this? No, I do not. However, I want to read it so that I can experience what she's experiencing. I've got the whole series sat on my shelf. I've got all of the Sarah J Maas books sat on my shelf, and I just want to finish them so that I can finally be up to date, if I'm completely honest, and just sit back and relax and see what happens when she comes out with new books, because it's gonna happen, isn't it? But I enjoyed the first book. I'm interested to see if I still enjoy it after reading a wide selection of books that I already have been reading over the past years since I actually tried that book, and we're gonna see if we can enjoy the rest of the series and whether the romance element is for me. Like I said, no high hopes, but if it's gonna be a good time, that's the main thing. I just want to enjoy what I'm reading. This second continuation, I am shocked it has taken me this long and that I have to put it on a list, but that is The Tyranny of Faith by Richard Swan. I gave The Justice of Kings 5 stars when I read it 2 years ago. I have not picked this up once. this whole year. I wanted to originally pick this up straight away after finishing the Justice of Kings, but I held off. So I really need to get better at doing that, and I want to stop doing that, really. That might be one of my goals for next year, if I'm completely honest. I keep putting myself off books because I'm sat there going, no, I need to read it at this specific season within the year. No, I need to read all these other specific things. I need to stop putting so many things on top of myself, like chores and stuff, and just be able to read what I want to read, because otherwise I'm just not enjoying what I'm reading, and that defeats the point. I want to enjoy what I'm reading. I want to continue series. So this one I need to read because the first one was so good. Like I said, I gave it 5 stars. I need to know what happens next and finish the trilogy. I know that this author has another book that is coming out next year, so I would like to try and read these before I get that, but we'll see what happens. And the final series that I am definitely hellbent on continuing is Atlas Paradox. I want to continue the Atlas 6 trilogy. Again, I really enjoyed the first book. I'm kind of finding Olivia Blake's writing hit or miss for me at the minute, but I really enjoyed the Dark Academia vibe of the first book, so I want to continue and find out what happens in the rest of the series. And if they're not that great from the second book on, then I can make some shelf space by clearing them out, because I've got 2 sets of this series and I need to read it so that I know whether or not I'm going to enjoy it. So we're going to work with that. But yeah, I need to continue this one as well because I just want to know what happens. And now for the final 3 books. So these are all going to be new releases that are coming out in 2025 that I can't wait to read. I have a couple of the other books in the series here that I'm going to hold up in place of the book. So the first one is The Rising, which is the sequel to this book, The Branded, by Joe Riccioni. This is a romance fantasy book. It's really good. I gave this 5 stars. I really enjoyed it, and I was really pleasantly surprised at how much I enjoyed this book. I think the writing is so phenomenal. I really like the sister duo that we're following. Yes, there is romance sprinkled in. No, I'm not a big romance reader. However, I really enjoyed our main character. She is kind of unlikable, but she's such a strong and independent character, and she knows what she wants, and she knows that she's going to work to try and get what she wants, and I really respected that. So I can't wait to read the sequel, which is actually going to be the end because it's a duology, which means I can finish the series quite quickly if I just pick up the sequel. The other one, which will also finish off a series for me, is the 3rd book in the Nightingale and the Falcon trilogy by Stephen Orion. The 3rd book is called The Sorrow of the Sea, and it is, like I said, the 3rd and final book in this trilogy. I am so excited to finish off this book. I don't know where it's going. I don't know what the ending is. I can't guess. I have no idea. I just need Stephen to tell me. And I cannot wait. I've got the first 2 books on my shelves. I have read both. I just need to close out this series to figure out what the heck is going to happen. There are so many things and so many questions that I have that I just need to know the answer to, but I just don't know what the answers are yet. So that's fun. I need to finish this series, but I'm also kind of scared too. And then the final book is the newest release from V.E. Schwab, which is Bury Our Bones Under the Midnight Soil, I think, or some title to that respect. I really don't know an awful lot about that book. I just know that V.E. Schwab is an author by author. I am striving to read all of her books next year. I have read 3 of her books already, so I'm going to be striving to read all of the Darker Shade of Magic trilogy, Fragile Threads of Power, Bury Our Bones. I might reread Addie because I really did enjoy Addie LaRue, and then we'll see, and then Vicious and Vengeful, as well as some other things thrown in towards the end of the year. I'm very excited for that, but like I said, I really don't know anything about that book. She's just kind of an author by author, and as soon as I saw she was releasing something, I was like, I'll read that. I haven't even read all of her books, but I'll read that. Ah, joy of joys. But those are the 12 books that I definitely want to read next year. I'm hoping that I will actually read all of these books. I'm hoping I will enjoy all of these books, but we shall see, and I will obviously tell you in vlogs next year as I go through and read them. But otherwise, that is everything for today's video. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you have, please give it a thumbs up. It really supports me and my channel. Leave me a comment down below of a book that you are highly anticipating. I want to know, and let me know as well if I should be adding it to my TBR. If you want to leave me any emojis, leave me any calendar emojis for the 12 in 12, and if you want to see more of me, please consider subscribing down below and ring that notification notification bell to get notified every single time I upload new videos. I am uploading every single day now until Christmas Eve, so be sure to come back tomorrow for another video. But otherwise, that is everything for today's video. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll see you soon in the next one. Bye!
The Christmas tree's on fire, Santa's holding the lighter. My parents are both liars, I got gifts but 1 subscribers. Thanks for the candy basket, oh got another jacket. My stocking's filled with acid, am I dreaming? What just happened?